Spoiler alert.
Welcome to Spoiler Alert. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dustin.
Okay, we got two movies for you today. One of which is Shazam! Fury of the Gods and the batshit insane drama that took place over the course of this past weekend. And then John Wick Chapter 4. Let me start off by saying I did not expect Shazam! Fury of the Gods to be Don't Worry Darling levels of fucking drama. This innocent little superhero fucking movie that caused David Sandberg to say he's done with superheroes, caused Zachary Levi have a total fucking nervous breakdown on Instagram Live, having poor Rachel Zegler say, please go see our movie. It's just insane to me.
Yeah, no, it is. I didn't see the Zachary Levi breakdown on live, though. I would love to see that. I don't know. I mean, lately he's fucking gotten on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
He's made some fucking anti-vaxxer comments that were really fucking stupid, and it's like, dude, shut up. You know, no one just shut up.
Exactly. And then, over the weekend, Zachary Levi posts to his Instagram stories, a little clip talking about how The Rock was not allowing Justice Society of America to be in the post-credit scenes with the quote, and the truth shall set you free.
Oh, God.
And then 2 days after the fact, he does the Instagram Live thing. And I watched the entirety of this at work. And it's the most uncomfortable thing you will ever sit through. You are seeing in real time a man having a nervous breakdown. He starts off bizarrely singing Lights by Journey for a minute. And then he's talking, and then he's delivering this manic, flop, sweaty energy, all while suspiciously looking like Reed Richards.
What?
Seriously, he looks like Reed Richards doing this with the silver shock hair and the black.
Yeah, it's true.
And the John Krasinski kind of beard.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's saying shit like, John Wick is the cool thing, but go see Shazam! Fury of the Gods, a movie for the whole family.
And this weekend, I think John Wick comes out. Listen, I love Keanu Reeves. If you want to go see John Wick, fucking go for it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to. But John Wick's not a family movie. So if you're looking for a movie for your family or your date or whatever, or you just don't want to get into hardcore, pop, go see Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Wherein Lucy Liu does her best Chef Slavic from the menu impression to Diedrich Bader. Yeah, this is something that happens in a family-friendly movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it, so
yeah,
you're
we'll talk more about that.
Right. I just think I saw the first Shazam. It was fun. Sure, the kid to an adult thing is great, but I just think, I don't know, man. It just doesn't. It feels like there's no. It feels like one of those movies you're gonna walk into and they're gonna overly wrap it up into a nice, neat little bow.
I might as well just jump right to the post-credit scenes.
Sure.
Because The Rock shouldn't be blamed for this film's failure. However, there had to be some sort of confrontation between Shazam and Black Adam. Black Adam is Shazam's Joker. And the fact that The Rock was trying to sneak in and be the DC head behind everybody's back just kind of ruined Black Adam. Because Black Adam, you can tell, was a darker story that was jammed into a 4-quadrant, ultra-safe Dwayne Johnson brand.
Yeah, I was confused because they talk about how he's a bad guy through the whole movie, but I just heard reports that he didn't want to go full bad guy, and he kept having things cut out that made him look bad. And it was like, wait, that's not what I mean, you know, the fucking power of the balance of power in the DC universe is, you know, changed and all these things, and I'm a bad guy and he's not a hero and blah blah blah. I forget how did Black Adam get his powers in the movie?
His son gave Black Adam the powers because his son, and this is probably a true Dwayne Johnson write-in thing. Like, his son believed his father was pure of heart.
Yeah.
And then the first Shazam sets up Black Adam destroying all of Kahndaq. But unlike Black Adam, Fury of the Gods feels more like a team effort. Like, everyone is working together on this. So anyway, we kind of rambled and got off course. Let's get to the post-credit scenes, wherein Zachary Levi reveals in his flop, sweaty Instagram Live nervous breakdown that it was supposed to be Hawkman and Cyclone that invites Shazam into the Justice Society of America. Yeah. And in the film, it's Economos and Harcourt. And of course, Toxic Snyder fans are like, oh, Amelia Harcourt's in this. Total nepotism, blissfully ignoring the fact that Zack Snyder put his own son in his own movies. Or the fact that Zack Snyder's wife is the reason he has a filmmaking career.
Right.
It's just like, no. I'm tired of the sexist attacks against Jennifer Holland. But at the same time, stop trying to make fetch happen with Amelia Harcourt. I mean, she's a fine character, but I don't want her to essentially become the Nick Fury of this.
Well, I think for now it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, she wasn't in the back of Black Adam. You know, it was Henry Cavill, and he got fucking ousted, you know, so like, or ousted or whatever. But like, I feel like I'm cool with Amelia Harcourt and like whatever. She had that. Wait, she was in Black Adam though.
Yeah, she was in Black Adam for like
in
30
the actual
seconds,
movie.
Toxic Snyder fans had a bitch fit about it.
Fuck Toxic Snyder fans. I think it's kind of smart to use her because Waller's not going to fucking do her legwork, and she was in trouble with Waller the whole fucking Peacemaker fucking season, and you know she's a soldier, so now she's doing all this other stuff. I think it makes sense, to be honest.
It does, and it just kind of feels like it was jammed in. And I don't blame anyone in this at all.
Right.
But I can confirm Michael Cullen's theory from the Black Adam episode. The Justice Society of America are the Toledo Metal Hens to Justice League's Detroit Tigers. And then it ends on like
no one will understand.
And then it ends on the most cringe ass fucking joke because you have Shazam reading Ava Thesaurus, pitching other names for the Justice Society of America. And he's like, how can you differentiate between Justice Society of America and Justice League? And then he's pitching off names that are synonyms for justice. And then he comes up with Avengers League. Ooh, I like that for some reason. I groaned loud as fuck when I heard that.
Yeah, I just don't think that, you know, I think the thing with these DC movies is it just goes back to the failure in direction and leadership. And I think DC, to me, has always had the better story elements and storylines than Marvel. And now in the films, you know, Marvel has these big overarching storylines. Like DC has never been able to pull even a single phase off. And they're scattered and they're all over the place. And it's like, to me, the Shazam movies were always a celebration of how fucking scattered the DC universe is. And so Black Adam seemed like almost like a fucking parody of how scattered the Shazam movies were. Sure, there's the same type of suit with the same symbol and the Shazam thing being said and all that, but like, if you really would have made it less jokey. You know, the first Shazam was pre-COVID, right? It was like COVID hadn't ruined everyone's life and killed fucking millions of people yet. And so him like being a superhero, it was almost like tongue-in-cheek meta. It was like if one of us had become a superhero with all the popularity of all these Marvel movies, like he was charging phones with lightning bolts and like, you know, going into the carryout and taking up tons of energy drinks, and like it was like fun a little bit, but like,
and that's,
you know,
exactly.
But we don't need. Right, I get it, but we don't need that anymore. The world is dark, man. The world is whatever, and I just think a second movie full of, you know, now it's like the family Shazams. Like, I mean, you make a movie, and Zachary Levi is just desperately trying to say it's for the family, but yet the number one audience you want to make happy with that is like the fucking people who are following the DC EU, and nobody is happy with it because I don't know, it just seems too like I'll see it when it comes out on, I don't know, maybe I won't, who knows.
Yeah, it's actually coming out pretty soon, like by the end of the month.
Yeah, it was a total bomb. So like they spent, how much did it cost to make?
125, and box office returns opening weekend were 30 million, down from Shazam's 53 million.
Yeah, so it totally tanked. They didn't market it.
And then this week, Zack Snyder announces his $175 a pop screenings for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention of his DC trilogy in LA, and it's sold out in minutes.
I think that's great for him, but like, I don't know, I'm just over it. I'm just over the whole fucking thing. Like the drama between Snyder and this and James Gunn and this. Like, I just want good movies, dude. And you know, I think
same.
All these other people really are sick of it too. I think the general public is over it.
You have everybody cutting, every studio executive cutting each other at the legs, whether it's Zack Snyder or Christopher Nolan or Toby Emmerich or Walter Hamada or even James Gunn, as of recently, suddenly and immediately deciding to announce a Superman and Batman movie while people were hyped over.
When was that?
Yeah, fairly recently. He just confirmed he's writing and directing Superman Legacy for 2025.
Right, but another Superman and Batman movie together?
No, I was talking the first announcement.
Right.
When you do that, you just kill motivation for these movies. And believe me, the main reason I love the DCEU is all these films feel very standalone. I can watch them separately without having to do a fuck ton of homework.
It's true. True.
And then we get to the first Shazam movie, which is a film I love so much that I tied it with Joker on my favorite films of 2019 video. Mm-hmm. And the reason I love that movie so much is it felt like something like Batman 89 or the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie or Kindergarten Cop. Films I would have watched religiously as an 8-year-old. And I love that it went hard 80s PG-13. It was not afraid to go dark. And that's what most Marvel movies are missing. They're afraid to go dark.
Yeah.
You have Gore the God Butcher who kills one god off screen. So he's really not that much of a threat when you have wacky sitcom Thor going around. There's no reason for me to care. And then the first Shazam felt like it was Snyder versus the Gore, complete with the themes of familicide by the 7 deadly sins and the parental abandonment from both Billy Batson and Savannah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But one person who really doesn't deserve to get blamed for this is David F. Sandberg. Dude is a super underrated filmmaker. Lights Out, both the short and film, are really good. He made the only watchable Annabelle movie with Annabelle Creation. I love his Pony Smasher YouTube channel. If you get the chance, watch his animated video essay on test screenings. It's one of my favorite videos on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah, he's great.
So every time someone brings up a bad test screening, I will always send that link. Because he perfectly breaks down why test screening shouldn't be all end all.
Right.
And with David S. Sandberg, he's bringing a lot of Raimi style to this. And he's paying tribute to Ray Harryhausen with creature design and Shazam Fury of the Gods, as you have a Cyclops that looks exactly like from something like Jason and the Argonauts. And he names one of the characters Dr. Dario Bava after Italian horror filmmakers Dario Argento and Mario Bava. So the guy loves horror. The guy loves scaring people.
Yeah.
And he did a great interview recently with Chris Stuckmann on his podcast, where he breaks down how he first started out, how he wanted to get into filmmaking. And I was just genuinely invested in everything he was saying, to the point where I was practically taking notes. He seems like a really cool guy. Sure. He doesn't deserve to have this kind of failure happen to him. And then, like, the weekend that movie drops, he comes on and says, I'm done with superheroes. I want to go back to horror. I was like, yeah, you have every right to say that, man.
Yeah, totally.
After all the shit you went through.
Anything, yeah. Superhero movies are,
But at the same time, I'm not quite ready to call superhero fatigue yet. If The Flash, Across the Spider-Verse, and Guardians of the Galaxy all fail, then yeah, it's time to rethink superhero movies.
No, we love shit like that. I just think that, and I think people look.
And I agree, Dustin. We all love shit like that.
Yeah, but the thing is this is like with Marvel, right? These people gave us, I don't know, at the time, 23 or 22 number $1 billion, 18 of them were $1 billion movies. They united the Avengers on screen for the first time in history. They gave us the very first functioning cinematic connected universe. And then they gave us Infinity War, which was absolutely fucking insane, was an actual event. Batman 89 was an event. And then a year later, or less than a year later, or whatever it was, they hit us with Endgame. And it was the number 1 movie of all time before Avatar came and jerked off again. But whatever. So I'm sorry, but if you've done 22 movies, 18 of which are number $1 billion blockbusters, you changed not just cinema, but entertainment forever. You made millions and billions of people happy. You dealt with a fucking pandemic right in the middle of trying to whatever. I think that Marvel is allowed to fucking be a little uneven for a year or two.
And I'll just say it, like, controversial opinion time. Phase 4 is the most interesting phase. I like that they're actually trying new things. They're still at Revolver, but they're not quite Sgt. Pepper yet.
Sure. And I think that they've made maneuvers with pushing Captain Marvel or the Marvels back or whatever. They made maneuvers. This Kang thing is really interesting and really cool. And I just think that starting with Guardians 3, it's going to be the beginning of that whole thing. People can go on and on about Ant-Man. It did feel like a really hollow movie, but I wouldn't go watch that again just for Kang, The
one movie we got to watch out for is Super Mario Brothers movie. I got a feeling that movie's going to be huge.
I'm excited about it, actually. I'm really excited about it. I really, really want to see it.
In closing, after we probably spent about 20 minutes talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods drama, I kind of hope this movie gets Puss in Boots' Last Wish level word of mouth, because this movie is perfectly fine. Look, I sat through fucking Pinocchio smelling literal horse shit last year. This is not the worst movie ever made.
All right. Yeah.
It's perfectly
Great.
fine.
Yeah.
And the film starts off at a museum as Hespera and Calypso turn everyone to stone to retrieve the broken staff from the first film. And of course, the villains are all original characters based on gods because The Rock refuses to lay down for a teenager. And after they turn everyone into stone, they do Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren do the whole "Who's Gonna Stop Us" thing. And then it cuts to wacky TGIF sitcom hijinks as Shazam thinks he's at a psychiatrist's office, but is at a pediatrician's office.
Wow.
And then,
Yeah.
when he delivers that line, "But I'm a pediatrician," I can hear the laugh track in my head. I can't stand what I like to call laugh track jokes. Jokes that are so bad, you can hear the laugh track in your head.
Yeah, it's terrible. That whole movie to me is jokes. You can hear the laugh, kind of.
But at least the first Shazam movie, it was tonally consistent. It balanced humor well. It balanced action well. It knew when to have dramatic beats.
Did they leave it open for a sequel or no?
Kinda.
Did they mention Black Adam at all whatsoever?
No, not at all. No, the post-credit scenes were what set up sequels. I forgot to talk about the second one. Derp.
With Wonder Woman?
So the second one is a bearded Savannah who was played by Mark Strong in the first film. And Mr. Mind's trying to tell him about his plan to escape. The little worm from the first film. It's post-credit scene. And he's going on about how they're going to escape and all that. And it just kind of ends.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
And they're setting up a sequel that is probably not going to happen. I hate post-credit scenes that do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Superman post-credit scene. It was cool, but there was that nagging, cynical part in the back of my mind that was saying, yeah, this is not going to happen. And guess what? It isn't. But there are good things about this movie. When it isn't playing for laughs, Billy Batson having imposter syndrome works. Because the core of this film is he's trying to keep this family together. Because every kid is growing up and trying to do their own thing. You have Mary Marvel, who's the only adult in the group. You have Freddie Freeman wanting to break out on his own. You have Jorge, who is a closeted homosexual. And then you have Darla Dudley being a kid, which goes to my next amount of praise. Faith Herman and Megan Good are A+ together as Darla Dudley.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's too bad we only see like 5 minutes of Billy Batson because 95% of the movie is Zachary Levi. And the thing about Zachary Levi in this movie isn't that Billy Batson, his Asher Angels, Billy Batson, and Zachary Levi aren't compatible. It's that Zachary Levi is on throughout the entire movie. Whereas in the first movie, Zachary Levi knew when to be funny and when to have a dramatic beat. Like the scene, for example, in the first Shazam movie, when Shazam rescues Mary Marvel and they have this talk that Mary Marvel got accepted into college and she's conflicted about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this genuine caring coming from Shazam as he rescues her. And it's at that very moment he starts to realize he does care about this family.
Yeah.
But going back to, I am so ADD today. Going back to Darla Dudley in this movie, the first big set piece is set during the Benjamin Franklin Bridge in Philadelphia. Like half the bridge is collapsing. Holding Out for a Hero is playing as a needle drop. And they cut to a box of kittens, one of which is an orange cat that looks like Baby Butters. And Darla Dudley says Darla Dudley decides to rescue the kittens first and then rescue the humans. That is a scene of the year candidate for me because of how well timed Megan Good's comedy is in that moment.
Right.
And the Shazamleys trying to rescue everyone from this bridge, and then they're called the Philly Fiascos. I actually like that they aren't seen as superheroes in Philadelphia, but total idiots. And shock of all shocks, that ties into Batman v Superman. The vilification of people trying to do good. And of course, the parents believe that the Philly Fiascos are the worst thing to happen to Philadelphia because of the mainstream news coverage they're getting. And then Kid Darla comes in with one of the kittens, and she's like, "We have a kitty now." And then pause, and it's like, "I guess I have to return it." And there are moments of humor that genuinely land, and they all belong to Darla, whether it's Megan Good or Faith Herman. Like, these two are more in sync with each other than Asher Angel and Zachary Levi. They understood the assignment. But at the same time, when Toxic Snyder fans are like, "Man, this movie sucks. Why does it have to have jokes and all that?" It seems like they want a swole 14-year-old heroin addict who turns into Mel Gibson. Not Mel Gibson as Shazam, just Mel Gibson in the Shazam suit who straight up murders Savannah right away. It goes up to Mary Marvel and is like, "Hey, sugar tits."
Nice.
Going back to what I said about David F. Sandberg, some of the imagery he provides is really cool. Like, there's some visually cool ideas in here. Like when Calypso is whispering into people's ears, and that's how she controls them. And their eye area turns black. And of course, we kind of touched on this. There's a scene where we meet Rachel Zegler's character, Anthea, who's one of the villains, and she's only a villain for 2 minutes because she's Maria in West Side Story. But the chemistry she has with Freddie Freeman is terrific. I was rooting for them to be together. Jack Dylan Grazer and Rachel Zegler played off of each other perfectly. And I really liked her as a character. And I like that the other great performance in this movie is Grace Curry as Mary Marvel, who is Mary Marvel full-time because the original Mary Marvel, that wasn't Grace Curry in the first Shazam movie, decided to be pro-insurrectionist on Instagram.
Right.
But it kind of makes sense as Grace Curry was the closest one to an adult at the time of the first film, that she's also Mary Marvel as well. And I love that her character is grounded in reality. She's the only adult in the Shazam movie. She's like, she's telling Billy Batson, like, "Dude, you need to grow up. The checks are going to stop coming. You need to make something of yourself." Because Billy Batson finds this family that loves him and cares about him. And he doesn't want to let that go. And that's why I really dug most of this movie. And then there's another bizarre scene that happens where Billy Batson is dreaming about Gal Gadot's stunt double with Jaimon Hinsu's head on top. I'm not making this up. And Jaimon Hinsu is delivering exposition about Hespera and Calypso, and Shazam's on a date with her.
So is Gal Gadot not in the... or Gal Gadot or whatever the fuck her
Gal
name
Gadot
is
in the movie. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
And then
well, don't forget, we still got to get to John Wick.
Oh, we're going to get to it. And then Hespera and Calypso capture Freddy, put him in the same cell as the Wizard, who's alive for some reason. And then Hespera and Calypso put the dome over Philadelphia like the Simpsons movie. And then the Wizard becomes Marvelized. In the first film, he's stern and all business. In this one, he's chosen in season 5 of Cobra Kai, who was the most badass villain of the original movies. And in season 5, he's telling broken English jokes.
Yikes. Yeah, this movie sounds terrible. I'm really glad I didn't see it.
And then you have Chris Morgan, who wrote most of the Fast and the Furious movies, shamelessly plugging Fast and the Furious. You've seen this in the trailer. And then Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are fine in this movie. It's just that they're the most generic villains you can possibly think of. They might as well have just been called Goddess 1 and 2. And then the Shazam Elite captures Hespera, Helen Mirren, and Kid Darla. And then we get to the Skittles subplot. I'm not making this up. Skittles is to this movie as to Krispy Kreme is to the recent Power Rangers movie, where it plays a crucial part. And then you have Kid Darla sorting out yellow Skittles for a captured Hespera. Again, another joke that got me. And then Calypso, played by Lucy Liu, turns on Hespera, becomes the main villain. She grabs an unexplained golden apple from the Tree of Life, not to be confused with the Terrence Malick movie, and plants it in a baseball field, setting up the third act. But I gotta say, Lucy Liu riding a dragon looks pretty cool. The parents find out they are the Philly Fiascos. They're totally accepting of it. And it goes to my next point. I really love Cooper Andrews and Marv Milans as the parents. They're the two constants of this movie. They were great in the first one. They're just as great in the second. And then, through the course of the film, Kid Darla believes in unicorns. And then she's told unicorns are in fact real. And then we get the reveal of the unicorns that look like Zack Snyder's My Little Pony, in which they're all pitch black with black horns. And this is where Skittles comes into play. They have to feed the unicorns ambrosia. And guess what the ambrosia is? Skittles.
Jeez.
Though, to be fair, it does end on a pretty funny little joke with Kid Darla saying, "Taste the rainbow, motherfucker," before it gets censored at the pho. And there's also a really great scene where Asher Angel as Billy confides in the wizard that he doesn't know how to handle his powers. And then the wizard tells him, "I chose you because of your heart." And this is frustrating because you can tell this was trying to be the first movie. And then Walter Hamada, Toby Emmerich, and Peter Safran were like, yeah, nice try. And then they do the final battle with Calypso, and Shazam sacrifices himself, and I'm using sacrifice in air quotes. And then Hespera, who is Helen Mirren, deactivates the dome with the last of her strength. And then they do the "he's totally dead, you guys" trope, when you know full well he's going to be alive 5 minutes later. Literally, the only time that trope worked for me was Avengers Infinity War. I know, Ryan the Marvel hater strikes again. Because in that moment, the first time you watch that, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Like, holy shit, this is powerful. And then, like, a couple months after the fact, I'm like, yeah, they're going to bring him back. But in that moment, that first time you watch it, that genuinely works.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh no, there's no magic left. He's seriously dead, you guys. Only a god or demigod can bring him back to life. Here comes Wonder Woman, complete with the Junkie XL Hans Zimmer theme, bringing Billy Batson back to life as a literal Deus Ex Machina. And I'm asking myself, where the fuck were you 15 minutes ago? Preferably with your sword.
Right.
Shazam decides to shoot a shot, and Wonder Woman turns him down.
Well, he's a kid.
Yeah. And that's the next part of this, too. Like, this would be fine. This would be fine if they didn't make a big deal out of this. And then the mother goes, "Ooh, I guess our kids like older women." I'm like, no! You just put that idea in my head!
Right.
If this is the last time we see Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, I'm going to be pissed.
Right.
And then the wizard shows up at the end looking like Jaimon Hinsu himself to get his staff back. And then that's Shazam Fury of the Gods. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 because Yeah, I have issues with the movie, but I still liked it a lot better than Black Adam. And after ruminating on it for a couple days, I was like, no, it's not that bad. There's heart and sincerity in this. Like, this felt like a movie that wanted to get made. There's nothing cynical about it, unlike Quantum fucking Mania. We rambled on long enough about Shazam Fury of the Gods. Let's get to the main fucking event. Because around this time last year, I told you about Sonic 2, and then I ended up talking about my favorite film of 2022, and sure enough, John Wick Chapter 4 is probably going to be on my favorite films list of 2023. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, I think great.
Tom Cruise may have some competition.
Yeah, it was incredible. It just, I mean, and even for me, like, I was like, I kept having these things where I'm like, you get excited, and then, it's like, the thing with John Wick for me is I was like, okay, one, if he's not dying, right, then there really aren't much stakes here. And then the action scene starts and you're like, holy fucking shit. It was like an art form, like totally witnessing like an art form come to life. And like they've mastered it after 4 movies. And then you find yourself just totally blown away by the different settings in which they're using this art form, where it's just like, the 2 shots to the 1 shot to the leg, 2 shots to the gut, and 1 to the head, and then spin around and take the other. I mean, that shit is just absolutely insane. The everything in in Osaka, everything in Paris. I mean, it's incredible shit. But I found myself in the drier parts, which I love, where there isn't action and it's more dialogue and story. I'm like, okay, so I wonder if it's just going to be another insane battle that he's obviously going to survive, and he's going to kick ass, and then will there be another one, and then where does this film like end up, right? But then when not that I was bored or anything, but I was just kind of like, okay, is it going to be repetitive, or is it going to be, because you basically have at this point have realized after 4 films that John Wick can't die. And I think that part of me was like affected by all this action, because it's fun to watch, but like if there's no stakes, it becomes kind of whatever. That totally fucking left my body the second the next action scene starts up, because they continually take each action scene up a notch in ways that are just completely unexpected, like how they did with the horses and shit in the fucking in John Wick 3. When they're doing the shit in the Paris traffic, when they're doing the shit in the fucking Continental in Osaka. I mean, it was just mind blowing. That shit with the staircase at the end, incredible. Oh. And then what happens at the end? They quote unquote kill John Wick. John Wick dies in this movie, but I don't think he's dead, first of all. But
we'll get to that.
Yeah. So like for me, this whole thing was just this crazy experience. I saw it in IMAX. It is so worth it. The overhead shots of him like pumping those fucking dudes with the exploding shells is, oh my god, dude. They just outdid themselves every single fucking sequence.
How the hell does this franchise keep getting better? And we're getting another John Wick movie later this year with Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas. And it's like,
does it really come out this year?
Yeah, apparently it's coming out this year. And the one thing I do love the most about John Wick is its world building and character development. Take those 2 things out of there, and it's a generic movie about an insane man who's killing people over his dog.
Yeah.
You have to have those strong supporting characters. You have to make me care. And then you have the bittersweet moment in the first 10 minutes when Sharon gets killed off.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, especially given Lance Reddick recently died. Again,
that's
rest in
why
peace.
It was hard to watch. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Lance Reddick. what an insane talent that man was.
For real. Yeah. Totally. This thing was awesome. And like it's been replaying in my head so much that I think you don't fully appreciate the film. And I've gotten that with all the John Wick movies. I don't know if anyone else is doing this. Maybe it's just me and my OCD, but like in every single film, I'm like, okay, so are we just repeating the same action sequence and whatever, and then it just keeps going to the very end, and it's just some wild thing. And like I thought, while I'm watching it, and then when the movie concludes, I'm like, that was fucking incredible, right? And then I watch the next one. I'm like, okay, so we're like doing this. Okay, here we go. And then like, oh shit! But like every time I watch one of these movies, I feel like there's something missing to this story, and I think what it is for me is just that they paint it kind of realistic, but then with like the bulletproof like suits and shit or whatever. But like, you know, during this film, I'm thinking, I wonder if it's the lack of stakes for the main character that have me thinking, is this going to be repetitive? Only to be totally surprised that it's not repetitive by all of these action sequences that outdo each other in ways that are so unexpected.
Mm-hmm. And in John Wick 4, there are actual stakes to this movie. The New York Continental gets blown up. John Wick is in hiding at Osaka. And then the big bad of this movie isn't any particular assassin, but Bill Skarsgård as a slimy middleman for the high table. Pretty
much, yeah.
And I love that angle so much because it would be so easy to make Kane the big bad or Hiroyuki Sanada be the big bad.
I loved Kane.
Kane is such an awesome character. I want spin-off movies for each of these characters now.
Yeah, it'd be great. And that's like, probably what they're doing. I mean, we haven't seen anyone on the high table yet, have we?
No.
Okay, so that whole thing is there. And who is the fucking, the guy in the fedora bouncing around this film the whole time? What character was that? He was sort of a rule book kind of guy for the.
Are you talking about the Harbinger?
Yeah.
The guy played by Clancy Brown?
Yep. The white beard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the guy who sets up the duel. And casting Clancy Brown in this is fucking perfection because I love this guy, man. One of the greatest character actors of all time.
But you got to think that he's going to be featured in a lot of these movies coming up.
Yeah. Not only that, like he's one of the greatest voice actors of all time too. This dude has range with a capital R. He's both Lex Luthor and fucking Mr. Krabs.
Actually, I think John Wick does kill a member of the high table in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have seen
when he was in the desert.
Yep.
Such is life.
Yeah. Deserts suck.
And then you get Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen in what is essentially the Asian cinema equivalent of the De Niro Pacino scene in Heat. And there's this genuine tension between the two. And then you get this badass fucking action sequences involving both camps. And I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, fuck yes!
Mm-hmm.
And then and Sanada was supposed to be in John Wick 3 as Zero, the guy played by the Iron Chef guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And he had to turn that down to get his ass kicked by Jeremy Renner in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's in this one. And I'm glad he's more important here. Kind of serving as an ally this time around instead of just a straight villain.
Yeah. He was in Mortal Kombat too, I think.
Yeah, he played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there you go.
I love Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen. And both of them are very fleshed out characters to the point that I actually mourned when Hiroyuki Sanada died. Like, he was such a cool character in and of itself. And his daughter, Akira, who's the concierge, is just as fucking awesome.
Yeah, she's great. And I'm glad they gave her a post-credit.
And that sets up the fact that she wants revenge on Kane, and it's like, I want to see this movie too. Holy shit.
Yeah, totally.
And this is her feature film debut too. She's mostly known as a singer. And the fact that you can wow me straight away, you have my undivided attention on your feature film career.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the genuine conflict that Kane has, wherein his hands are kind of tied as the High Table is threatening the life of his daughter, in which you see her playing violin and Kane is watching and listening. And he's a friend of John Wick. He does not want to do this. And the price of John Wick's head keeps rising and rising. And he's always in constant danger. That's what I mean when I say I love the stakes of this film. Yeah, John Wick is a Gary Stu, but if you write a Gary Stu well enough, he's going to be a cool character.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is a Gary Stu?
Gary Stu is the male equivalent of a Mary Sue.
No, I know, but like, what are the qualities of that for a male?
Like, same as Mary Sue, like practically perfect in every way, barely gets hurt, like.
Yeah, sure.
And then you get to the samurai sword battle sequence in Osaka, like, holy shit! Those are going to be the two key words throughout most of this section. Holy shit.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's great. That's what the review should say.
And then you get to the topic of movie length. Movies need to be as long as they need to tell a story. I think John Wick Chapter 4 should have been 2 hours and 49 minutes because of what they're trying to set up. And compare John Wick's runtime to Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is a 4-hour movie that feels like 2 hours. Or RRR, which uses its 187-minute long runtime perfectly. And then you have a movie like The Babysitter, which is 80 minutes. And if you make that movie any longer, it's going to be bad. Movies need to know how long they need to be, if they can get in or out. Because if you draw a movie out longer than it needs to be, it's not good. Like Avatar: The Way of Water is a prime example of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see that one either. I don't watch stupid shit. Just kidding. I watch my fair share of stupid shit. But yeah, no, I mean, I like that this was long. I am a fan of long movies. I'm a fan of dry movies, to be honest, because I think you can do a lot with storytelling. You can do a lot with cadence. I'm always a fan of like when there's the extra scene or something that you see on the extras, like with Batman, with Pattinson, like they had that Joker thing. And I'm glad that they released it like 2 weeks after the movie came out. So this is like reinvigorated all this energy and it told more of the story. I don't know that it would have actually worked in the movie, but like I think that I think the extended version that's either coming out or is out actually has that scene in the film. And as a fucking film and not a product, it works, right? Because you have this background. So I like when things are long. I love that there was a subplot where John Wick had to go and fucking kill the guy that killed what's-her-face's father to become part of a family and like the crest. And, you know, I love that, like,
because he had to be a part of a crime family to do this duel. Correct.
And he also needed a second, right? So, like, there's all that. But, like, I love that this franchise we know so little about the world of John Wick, and they've held back so much of it from us. And I think it's great. Because that's where Ballerina will shine and the Continental show will shine and all of those things. I really think that they have this ability to sort of like invent these rules and these things and like all of these like random things that whatever that make the story better, right? So like to me, I just need it to like this one pretty much concluded John Wick's journey from part one, like completely.
Yeah.
Like whatever. So there's that. But when he does inevitably come back, right? Something's going to bring him back in and he'll do another 4 movies. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, the guy got drugged back in by this one thing. But, like, to me, he can't just be, when he comes back, he can't just be fighting for his freedom again. It has to be like the destruction of the table. It has to have some, and when I say stakes, I don't mean life and death. I mean, like, plot stakes. It has to have something it's building towards, right? Because these have been really fun and these are really amazing. I had a lot of fun with this film, but I want him to, like, be building to something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then you have Tyler Bates and La Castlevania just going totally hard on this score. Like, every music moment fit perfectly with what they were doing. And then you have Chad Stahelski using fluid camera movements, like that insanely cool bird's eye view shot towards the end of the film, where you're seeing it from the ceiling. And you're seeing, like, these really cool shotgun effects that explode on impact.
Dude, that one is just insane. It felt like a video game and I loved it.
Yeah. And then you get to the Arc de Triomphe scene. This is where we're going to just come over the third act. This third act kicked my ass.
Yeah, it was insane.
John Wick's head is at 40 million right now. And you have this really cool black woman in this scene playing shit like Nowhere to Run. She's like, you better watch out, John Wick. And, like, one of the sexiest voices possible. I'm like, oh my God. And when I keep hearing her voice, I'm like, this is going to be cool. And then the Arc de Triomphe scene happens during the roundabout. And he's getting his ass thoroughly kicked. And then these people are coming after him. And then he's got to worry about all the cars in the roundabout. And I'm like, oh my God, cool. Yes, yes, yes. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And then we get to Sacre Coeur, in which the DJ's like, enjoy climbing up all 222 steps. And he has like 5 or 10 minutes left. And he's fighting all the way up those stairs. And just when I thought the Arc de Triomphe sequence was cool, here comes the Sacre Coeur sequence saying "Hold my beer." Like, my God, man, this scene kicked my ass. And it's like raid level styles of choreography throughout most of this. And then he gets knocked off just when you think he's about to make it. He gets knocked all the way the fuck down the stairs. Like right at the very bottom. And out comes Kane. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to help you get up there. And they team up. I'm like, fuck, yes!
No,
yeah, I know.
Good.
I sound like a fucking 14-year-old right now, but I don't care. I fucking love this movie. And then you get to the duel sequence. And they're like holding back at this point. At this point, it's mostly stalemate. And then Kane and Wick duel. And then Wick is apparently gravely wounded. And then just when de Gramont, Bill Skarsgård character, checks to see if he's dead, Winston goes, he didn't fire, you asshole. Clap. Right in the head. Like, if he did really die, John Wick went out like a pimp.
Oh, yeah.
And then he rests on the steps and utters his wife's name, apparently.
Yeah.
And then you get to the whole, he's really dead, guys. He's really dead trope. But if he were really dead, it's a great conclusion to his arc. Because he finally finds peace. He's finally with his wife and his dog he was gifted.
Yeah.
Because that's how he's going to find his peace. But like you, I'm kind of in the agreement that he's not dead. But at the same time, at the back of my mind, if you did end it like this, like, yeah, this is a great ending. You had some brass balls doing this, unlike Scream 6.
Oh, don't talk shit about Scream 6.
I do like Scream 6. I just wish they didn't pussy out at the end.
I'm telling you, they're building stakes for a two-parter or and a series where they rip our hearts out. That's what's going to happen. They'll kill everybody except for the fucking sisters. Actually, they might kill Sam. That's my whole fucking thing. We'll see what happens, but I think no one is safe because they're going to want to build on that relationship with Tara and fucking Derek, right? Is it Derek?
I forget the dude's name, honestly.
Yeah, and that's no slight on him. He's great, but I think that they're whatever. But with John Wick, it's interesting because this movie's going to slaughter metaphorically and literally at the box office. And
it's on track to make a 70 million, thus disproving Zachary Levi's. Thus defeating Zachary Levi's Instagram live post.
Right. Scream 6 will help fucking finish off fucking Zachary Levi too.
But yeah, let's just get to star ratings and then this. I went with a very high 4.5 on this. I love this movie. This will most definitely be on my favorite films list at the end of the year. I was on board with this. I like that John Wick staff feels fairly open-ended enough to the point that you're twisting in your head, like whether or not he's alive. That puts that little inception nugget in your head.
Sure. Because they're at his funeral and then they just walk away and that's the ending. That's kind of weird. First of all, it feels like a Scream 2 ending where she comes out of the fucking auditorium and it's just the Collective Soul starts playing. It was the same kind of ending. No, 4.5 is really dope. That's a great rating.
And what's your rating, Dustin?
I'm going to agree with you and give it 4.5. Because I really want to see this again in the theaters. I had a fucking lovely time at IMAX. It was stupid, awesome, ridiculous, and IMAX just had my fucking head blown off. I had a great audience. They fucking clapped when Lance Riddick popped up, but like, I'm lucky enough to live in a city in Chicago and like whatever. So we, those things happen and whatever, but like, I just had a great experience with it. I mean, I debated whether I'm seeing it in IMAX or not. I would have enjoyed it either way, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. You know what I mean? Because I always see the big Marvel DC films on IMAX and everything else is, whatever. I'll go see it however I see it. And there's a lot of good quality theaters. But like, I'm going to agree with you, 4.5, because I just think it was such a blast. I want to see it again. I think when I see it again, it'll probably be better. I had this feeling that when I see this again, it's probably going to be better. You never have feelings like that with films. Yeah. And I mean, you do, but I'm just saying like, it's great.
I got a feeling if I rewatch this, I'll probably bump up to a 5.
Yeah. You should go watch Scream 6 again too, friend.
Yeah. I'm going to buy the 4K for that. So you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, I gave it a very high 3.5, like a Top Gun Maverick 3.5. If this were a shit year in film, I'd probably put Scream 6 as an honorable mention. That's how good it is.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah. Be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word on New Rums Media. Follow us on all of our socials at New Rums Media. And until then, we'll see you next time.